Welcome to another episode of the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing. This week, the Secretary of Finance and Enterprise Development, Joel Jack, addresses the media.
Today, I wish to inform the people of Tobago and the wider national community that Budget Day for the Tobago House of Assembly will be on Tuesday, June 21st, 2016 at 10 a.m. Proceedings will commence at the Assembly Legislature as at 10 a.m. as I indicated previously. Let me say that this is my fourth budget presentation as Secretary of Finance and Enterprise Development, and I have the esteemed pleasure and privilege once again to deliver the Assembly's draft estimates for the upcoming fiscal period 2017. Over the past 4 years, I have had the opportunity to share this administration's, our development plans and the development trajectory that we planned for Tobago over the past 4 years. In light of what we have been able to achieve in spite of the current economic challenges, I think this budget statement will be couched looking forward in terms of the plans and programs of the Assembly over the next 12 months or so. We have, starting out in 2017, we have mapped a clear path of development, and I am convinced that our development will continue in light of the global and regional and national economic challenges. While the economic environment has changed somewhat, we're also mindful of the changes which was recently last year, which was at the central government level. And we are seeing a very favorable response in terms of our deliberations with the central government on a number of issues as we continue to forge and to map out Tobago's development plans. This year's presentation will include a number of areas that we plan to focus on, including infrastructure, tourism, agriculture, agro-processing, housing, the health sector. I want to encourage all Tobagonians and persons in the national public. I want to encourage everyone to listen to the presentation to have a clear understanding of the Assembly's plans moving forward. We will examine in detail our successes, our achievements, some of the challenges which still confront us, and how we plan to surmount these challenges. You may recall in my previous budget presentation for fiscal 2016, the Assembly requested $5.805 billion, and we were allocated $2.779 billion, an increase of approximately 6.3% over the parliamentary allocations for fiscal 2015. For recurrent expenditure, the Assembly requested $3.6 billion, and we were allocated $2.34 billion, or approximately 70% of the request. And for the development program expenditure, the Assembly requested $2.31 billion and was allocated $404 million, or 17% of our requests. So these were the figures that I presented for fiscal 2016 and the allocation given to the Tobago House of Assembly. This year, the priority areas for the budget will include diversification and private sector development, improving the quality of education and infrastructure, providing affordable housing and improving the housing stock on the island, improving health care and social service delivery, enhancing the island's human capital, support for the tourism industry, empowering communities, and building infrastructure. Let me say a special thank you to all the stakeholders who participated in the budget consultation over the past couple of weeks. This is something, this is a hallmark of this administration that we as Secretary of Finance, have consulted with a number of stakeholders since 2013, and this year is no different. Let me say thank you to the Hotel Association, to the Tobago District Agricultural Society, to the Tobago Agro-Processors Association, to the trade unions, and to members of the youth organizations, and also to the Tobago Chamber. In addition to presentations, stakeholders were also invited to present written submissions. And I want to thank them as well as we continue to collaborate and deepen the democratic process, and also engage stakeholders in informing the policies of the Tobago House of Assembly. As value for money becomes more critical with respect to the recent cuts in the allocation to the Tobago House of Assembly and to other ministries, the Assembly is continuing to capitalize on our partnership with multilateral organizations to support capacity building. In this regard, the staff of 5 divisions of the Assembly will benefit from a 3-day workshop sponsored by the Caribbean Development Bank. The seminar is entitled Managing for Development Results, and will afford staff of Division of Finance, the Division of Community Development and Culture, Infrastructure and Public Utilities, Tourism and Settlements and Labor to access the expertise, and also to expose them to a rigorous curriculum supporting the implementation of successful projects with sound measurement and maximum impact. Participants will also have the capacity and skills and the necessary framework for accessing and identifying donor-funded projects. This will strengthen the capabilities and the capacities within the Assembly as we explore a variety of avenues for funding development program activities. A total of 20 persons will participate in the training program. And on behalf of the Assembly, I wish to thank the Caribbean Development Bank for their assistance. And you may recall that I previously indicated that I think it was the last time that I was here that we met with the Caribbean Development Bank, and we're seeking to deepen the partnership, and we're seeking to access a number of technical assistance in a variety of areas. I wish to highlight some other undertakings in the division through the Business Development Unit and the Eco-Industrial Development Company of Tobago, EIDCOT. In the Business Development Unit and in the division, we are finalizing our participation in TIC this year, the Trade Investment Convention in Trinidad. 8 local entrepreneurs will participate in this mission alongside EIDCOT and the Tobago Information Technology Limited and the Division of Tourism. This convention is one of the largest in the region and presents an opportunity for local business persons to be exposed to a variety of opportunities in the area of trade, business expansion, and networking. This year will build on the success of the entrepreneurs who previously attended, and the delegation will comprise 5 new entrepreneurs in a variety of areas. Let me say that TIC has been, I believe, a tipping point for a number of entrepreneurs to make that leap from small to medium size. A number of entrepreneurs who were previously sponsored by the Business Development Unit and now, I would want to say exporting to Trinidad, but they have orders at some of the major supermarkets in Trinidad as a result of the exposure at TIC. This is all part of the mandate of the Division of Finance and the Tobago House of Assembly as we seek to expand the private sector. I am really looking forward to TIC. I was there last year and I was heartened by the response of the entrepreneurs from Tobago and as well as some of the participants. I met with the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association last year, Dr. Rolf Balgobin, and we are seeking areas of further collaboration with the TTMA and to see how we can empower our small entrepreneurs and especially our agro-processors and how we can take them to the next level. So I'm really excited about TIC this year and the prospects for Tobago entrepreneurs. And this is also part of the division's strategy in terms of assisting our entrepreneurs to penetrate the export market. We'll also be assisting a number of entrepreneurs and agro-processors with respect to the cost of having their products tested. Sometimes success breeds challenges. You might recall sometime previously I intimated that we took a number of entrepreneurs on missions to New York and to Canada. And what that does is places their products at the scrutiny of international agencies, and we want to ensure that our products, as we know it, that they are not only, they are export ready and they meet all the required standards, testing and labeling standards, international standards. So we'll be working closely with a number of entrepreneurs and assisting them in having their products tested, either at Kariri or the National Testing Lab in Trinidad. In addition, several capacity building workshops are planned for our local entrepreneurs, and the Business Development Unit will be executing a number of them. The first I would like to highlight is social media management training. And this is a follow-up to the trainer workshop that was executed earlier this year. One training program was done in collaboration with the Division of Community Development and Culture in May. And this upcoming program forms part of the Business Development Unit strategy to strengthen the capacity of our local business persons in using traditional and non-traditional methods of marketing and getting the message out. The social media training, and we know that social media marketing is now the in thing, and it is not being utilized to the degree that it should be by local entrepreneurs. And for even persons in the tourism industry, really want to get persons utilizing social media and to leveraging this, I would say, quote-unquote free, but this manageable platform that presents, I think, a wealth of potential for business growth and for business expansion. Additionally, opportunities for expanded business incubation support, primarily for local producers, is also being arranged. I mentioned previously about the testing, and what a number of producers intimated to the division is that the high cost of testing is really prohibiting them from moving forward. And I want persons, a number of Tobagonians who might be residing in Trinidad to, while you're shopping at your favorite supermarket in Trinidad, also look out for some of the Tobago products. And if you're missing your dumpling and, well, not your left-hand dumpling, but if you're missing your cassava dumpling and so on, those products are available in Trinidad, and you should really share them with your friends and family that you can have Tobago and Tobago branded products available in Trinidad. The business development unit is also in consultation with Fashion TT to develop a business model for a local garment production facility. We are also seeking to strengthen the linkages with key international organizations to provide the necessary support for the services sector. Outreach and education activities targeting schools and communities have been another focal point for the business development unit. What we are attempting to do as a result is to promote entrepreneurship, to engage young persons, engage as many persons in Tobago in the area of entrepreneurship. And it is interesting how sometimes you're shopping, you're at the grocery, you're at the vegetable mart, that a young man quite recently approached me that, he has this idea. And, I was able to point him to the business development unit so that he can turn his business idea into a reality. And I'm really pleased that we have these facilities to give young people, to give young entrepreneurs the opportunity or the avenue in terms of access to credit or retail facility for them to really develop their businesses. So as we seek to expand the private sector, I want to encourage members of the public and other community groups and non-governmental organizations to access the information, technical expertise, and the grant funding that is available at the business development unit in any area related to entrepreneurship, as we seek to grow and expand our indigenous business sector. I also wish to highlight an initiative facilitated by the Eco-Industrial Development Company of Tobago, EIDCOT, the Tobago Information Technology Limited, and Anime Caribbean YTEP at Palo Tuve last week. And this was a precursor to the launch of initiative to expand the Tobago's animation industry. The session evaluated the capacity and interest in the sector among members of the community, and this was done as an information briefing session to inform members of the community before the actual project rollout, and this should happen sometime later in the last quarter of this fiscal year. Following this initial meeting, we'll have a series of community activities prior to the formal launch. The intention is to intensify the promotion, to identify local talent, and also to increase the capacity and the participation of persons in the training program. I believe that animation is an industry that we have to target. And when you look on social media, when you look at the usage of apps and also what is taking place in the animation industry internationally, I think this is a niche that we can explore successfully.
A lot of Tobagonians, and there has been and continue to be a lot of talk on the ground with respect to THA's spending of monies. You are going to present your budget on the 21st. How much monies have been spent in the last budget allocation, and how confident or what reassurances do you wish to give to the people of Tobago that their monies will be spent appropriately?
Let me see from the onset, Liz, that, and I want to dissect your question into a number of areas. One, in terms of the payment, the timely payment of suppliers, contractors, salaries, gratuity. You might recall in my initial budget presentation in 2013, I outlined that is the Assembly's intention to establish a policy, a 10-day payment policy. Let me say thus far we have, that is the benchmark that was set, but we are not there as yet in terms of successfully implementing that benchmark. And we have had some administrative challenges in some divisions, and we are attempting to rectify that. In the Division of Finance, we are attempting to establish a benchmark that is below the 10-day window. And that is the benchmark that we have set. And we have noted the challenges in some divisions where contractors remain unpaid, but we are working to ensure that we meet that 10-day payment window. We are also seeking to modernize the Assembly's payment processes. You may recall that I spoke about transitioning the Assembly's accounts from cash basis to the accrual basis, and adopting the International Public Sector Accounting Standards, or IPSAS. So that is where the target is with respect to the timely payments of bills and invoices. With respect to, you mentioned...
I want to know about how confident are you to tell the people of Tobago that their monies will be spent appropriately, and how much monies have been left over from the previous budget?
Well, in terms of spending, you might recall that in terms of what we requested and in terms of what we receive, there is always a shortfall. So we always, for example, on the development program side, the shortfall was over 70%. So we have always started with a shortfall. And in terms of managing the allocation that we receive, we have to manage all the funding that we receive, given the fact that it is less than what we asked for. On the recurrent side, it's more than 30%. So you're managing a shortfall. We are not managing surplus funds. We are managing a shortfall. And as you manage, you have to also anticipate for what is happening now in the global environment. The unpredictability of a fall in oil prices and declining revenues. So we have managed with a high degree of prudence in the Tobago House of Assembly, and we will continue to do so. And we were able to previously, you might recall, when the oil prices declined and we were dealing with the global economic challenge in 2007, 2008, we were able to weather that storm in Tobago. And again, with the oil prices declining to below $30. I mean, I looked at the oil price today just before coming, and West Texas was just over $50, and Brent was over $52. We are optimistic that it will stay above $45 a barrel, but then you manage with scarce resources, and you have to also manage for the what is happening in the international market and in the unpredictable. They didn't, you're not being able to predict what will happen in the international economy. So against that backdrop, Liz, let me assure and reassure the people of Tobago that we will manage with prudence. We will not engage in any profligate expenditure and any, as we have seen in the past 5 years across the waters, we will not manage the people of Tobago's limited financial resources.
With respect to workers being paid on time, a number of workers keep inboxing me every month, whether it's agriculture or health, complaining that they continue to not be paid on time. Even some persons who are awaiting their social services grants, they are telling me they are being told that they will have to wait until the middle of June. How soon will persons in Tobago be able to be paid on time on a monthly basis?
Well, let me say, Liz, that some of those issues are administrative issues. And we are working with the administrators, with the relevant divisions, to try to deal with the administrative bottlenecks and to have the issues resolved. And let me say it's unfortunate. This is, my staff will tell you that this is something this is my pet peeve, if you want to call it. I get upset when people meet me and they tell me that they're not paid late. And when business persons tell you they have not been paid by the Assembly, they have been owed for months. This is something that has to stop. And as Secretary, I am doing all in my capacity on my side to attend to resolve these issues. And let me give the people of Tobago my assurance that the Assembly, that we are working to resolve it. This is unacceptable. And we are treating with the productivity and the administrative issues, but this is something that has to stop. And let me say that I'm working on it. We are trying to, I said before, streamline the accounting of the Assembly and to modernize our accounting infrastructure to deal with some of the bottlenecks. You might recall earlier we spoke about the ACH and being able to reduce the time that it takes to pay employees to get their salaries into the banks. And we have completed the training in all the divisions. And we expect a full rollout, a complete transition in all the divisions by the end of the year. So we were working to resolve this issue, and this is something that has to stop.
There's been many that's been calling for an investigation into the Tobago House of Assembly and the way the Assembly manages the finances and so on. Will you welcome a probe or a forensic audit and so on? Well,
I'm not sure what they mean by forensic audit, but what I will tell you, we welcome any probe. And you might recall before we've had these accusations flying in the air. It seems that the time is ripe. But just recently, and let me answer your question if I didn't emphatically, we welcome any probe into the operations of the Assembly. And let me remind you, recently we met with the Auditor General's Department in terms of bringing the Assembly's accounts and records, having them audited. They have been prepared up to 2014, and we want them audited and brought up to date. If we could have engaged an auditing firm and audit the Assembly's books and present the findings to the Auditor General's Department, if that was possible, we would have done it, because we welcome the scrutiny. And let me say, we manage the resources of Tobago and the resources of the Assembly with the utmost honesty, and we welcome any scrutiny. So sometimes I smile when we're hearing these statements and sentiments. I think they are 5 years too late, though. I wish the silence, there was a deafening silence when when nationally persons were clamoring for similar statements, and some of the proponents who are now demanding an audit of the Tobago House of Assembly, they were like very silent in Jerusalem when they should have been making the same statements 5 years ago. So, Ms. Jackson, to answer your question, again, we welcome any scrutiny. You might recall that not only to the Auditor General's Department, but we went ahead and we brought in Moody's. We subjected ourselves to the IMF, to the Article 4 consultation. We are now working we invited the Caribbean Development Bank, so our books are open. We welcome any scrutiny. So please, I want to remind the proponents that I would have welcomed a similar clarion call over the last 5 years. But
thank you for staying with us for the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing for the week ending June 11th, 2016.